Broadcasting live from the beautiful Gwinnett Infinite Energy Center in Atlanta, Georgia, for the Power of Partnering Marketplace Conference. It's time for GWBC Radio. Now, here are your hosts.
Lee, I can't think of any better way to invest a Tuesday morning. This is just a blast. We've had so much fun catching up with some old friends, making some new ones, some exciting, informative conversations. I know this is going to be no exception. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast two folks in this episode. We have with us Director, Global Category Management, Industrial Sector, Corporate Supply Management with Sunoco, Miss Deborah White. Welcome to the show, Deborah.
Thank you so much.
And we also have Director, Strategic Sourcing, Corporate Supply Management with Sunoco, Mr. Steve Charles. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Deborah, before we get too far into things, can you tell us a little bit about Sunoco? How are you serving folks?
Great. Sunoco is a packaging company. We've been around since 1899, and we're based out of Hartsville, South Carolina. We're a $5 billion company with more than 337 locations around the world. Here in the U.S. and Canada, we actually have 120 locations. We make packaging for things such as Pringles and Oreos.
Wow, that must be fun around the office.
Absolutely.
Samples? You get any samples? Now, what's your relationship with GWBC? Why is it important to be part of this organization?
GWBC is a fantastic organization. In support of our diversity efforts, we first joined a company, WeBank, which is a parent organization. GWBC allows us to focus on those companies that are actually located in our backyard. We find this organization to give us an outlet to find Weebies that can help Sunoco build a very strong diversity program.
Now, was that something that when you started working at Sunoco, were you aware of the organization?
Actually, I was not. Sunoco is actually new to supplier diversity. While Sunoco's been around, as I said, since 1899, our diversity program actually started in 2004. We started at a national level and recognized the significant importance of joining the local organizations, and that's how we found GWBC.
And then how has it impacted the firm, this relationship?
Significantly. We've seen our supplier diversity spend increase from 0 to a number today of 9.3% diversity spend. We're doing business with several member companies of GWBC, and so we're very pleased to be able to help those Weebies that are located in Georgia and North and South Carolina.
And then does that extend throughout the whole Sunoco wherever you're located?
Absolutely. If we can find a Weebie that can support our organizations located throughout the U.S. and Canada, we are certainly inclined to do that. We also look for those Weebies that can help us on a global scale. In fact, my colleague Steve was just speaking with Nancy from ASAP about a very significant opportunity.
So, Steve, how does that work for you, getting involved with GWBC and the women-owned businesses?
In my role as the director of sourcing, part of what our responsibility is sourcing the right materials and the right services that Sunoco needs. We've been supporting diverse companies since 2004, as Deborah stated. And to us, a supplier diversity program is much more than a standalone program. It's a strategy for being more innovative, more competitive, and more agile. So using smaller, diverse companies, Weebies from the GWBC, sometimes it allows us to be more nimble and make decisions faster.
Can you share a story maybe that illustrates that, where maybe a small supplier was able to do something innovative that maybe you hadn't thought of prior?
Yeah, so one example is in our Morristown, Tennessee facility, we had a supplier that was able to come in selling chemicals and put in bulk solvent tanks to be able to store. We were buying a packaged product before, putting in bulk storage. We'd never had one of the national suppliers sign up and be willing to do that in the past, so they came in, invested their money to put in the bulk solvent. It allowed us to lower our total cost of the material and also never worry about having the product on hand at that facility.
And that's an example where a lot of times the small guy or woman is they're just solving a problem. And then the large enterprise, maybe they weren't even aware that this solution existed.
Exactly.
And then being involved with the GWBC kind of gives you access to some of these smaller people that have innovative ideas that wouldn't be on the radar in
For
normal
sure.
circumstances.
For sure. We participate in the GWBC. We also have the other partners with other organizations, with the minorities, with the veterans, with the NGLCC,
Right.
where we can find some solutions to all those problems.
Now, has this impacted Sunoco kind of from like the morale in the company to see the diversity and to see kind of the different faces and voices that, as a global organization, are you seeing an impact from that standpoint?
Yeah, for sure. So to put it into perspective, about 1/3 of our sales in the U.S. and Canada are with customers that place significant importance on Sunoco reporting supplier diversity progress to them on a quarterly basis.
Oh, wow.
So there's the business case for supporting supplier diversity. Also, with changing demographics in the U.S. and around the world, it's very important for your brand and your company to be known as someone that cares and embraces diversity. So diverse companies have a reputation for being more nimble. We talked about it earlier, and more creative and willing to take risk. So Sunoco is at the forefront in the packaging industry in what we do here with supplier diversity, and it's made a huge positive impact on our sales and also the morale around the office.
Now, if I could just add one thing to that. A lot of times what we see in interviews is the millennials that are coming to our organization, they are asking us about diversity. They're also asking us about sustainability. So it gives us great pride and pleasure to be able to tell them about the great work that we're doing with GWBC.
Mm-hmm. And then you're not just, kind of signing up for GWBC. You're getting involved at high levels, right? This is important for you to not just kind of show up, but you're actually embracing the whole group and getting involved actively.
Absolutely. Sunoco actually hosts a diversity conference at our headquarters in South Carolina every year. In that program, what we do is we raise funds, and of those funds, we donate a significant amount of money to GWBC. We're also here to do volunteerism, so we try to help both from a financial standpoint as well as donating our time as well as resources that we have that GWBC might need.
Mm-hmm. Now, any advice for the women-owned businesses out there if they want to, get involved and serve an enterprise-level client like
you got to pick up the lingo, man. They're weebies. Have you been listening to that? Did I have that right?
You got it.
I got a new phrase now. All right, so counsel for the weebies, though, right?
Yeah, counsel for the weebies. So Deborah talked about the event that we just held our 15th annual event back in May. It's a good way to network with our buyers. So what we do is we bring in our tier 1 suppliers, make them available for all the weebies in the area. They can come in and sell to them because we not only report the spend that we spend with Diversity Direct, but we also report our second tier spend. So that's what our suppliers spend. So the event that Deborah spoke of that we have every May over in South Carolina, we're bringing in 300 to 500 people, making them available to the weebies to sell their wares to them as well. So not only selling direct to us, but direct to our suppliers, and it's actually part of the contracts that we have with our direct suppliers. So if they're not a diverse supplier, there's a clause in the contract that says, hey, they're going to make every effort to spend a certain percentage of what they sell to Sunoco with diverse suppliers, and weebies would qualify for that.
This must be such rewarding work for you to be able to do this and make that impact on these small business people.
Oh, absolutely. Both from a professional standpoint and a personal standpoint, it's very important to me. We want to see these companies flourish, and we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we are supporting them.
Now, is there ever an instance where some of these weebies approach you after the fact, after getting maybe a contract, and share some appreciation or share the impact it's making to their family or their community?
Yeah, this space, it's a small world, right? So you get a lot of self-fulfillment out of supporting the small businesses, but also you create a lot of friendships that are going to last well beyond business, right? So Deborah and I both been supporting our supplier diversity initiative from Sunoco just about from the get-go. So we both were kind of starting at the grassroots, and we've helped along the way.
I think one thing that I'd add to that is that Sunoco as a company, we do not award business to a company just because they're a Weeby or they're a diversity-owned company. So that when we award business to a company that just happens to be a Weeby, we know that we are awarding that contract to the best qualified supplier. Mm-hmm. So it gives them great fulfillment to know that they won not because they were a diversity company, but that they were indeed the best company.
Right. It's not a charity. They have to have the goods, right? They have to be able to execute and serve in the manner that is expected.
Absolutely. And we take great pride in our program because we will only do business with companies that are certified through GWBC or one of the other partnering organizations. So that gives us great comfort in knowing that.
Right, and you know that when they're involved with GWBC that they've been vetted, they've been checked out, and that they have the resources available to them to be successful.
Exactly. So one of the other benefits of diversity at Sunoco is we have a commitment from the top down. So our CEO has made the statement that talks about it's not limited to one business, but across all spectrums of our business. And he believes that when diversity is embedded in your culture, like it is at Sunoco, it truly becomes foundational to the success of our company.
Well, and that is so important to the entire effort, right? Because without that genuine commitment from senior level leadership, it's just pretty hollow, right? And you see through that over time. So that's encouraging to know that you really do have that flavor of leadership.
But Deborah pointed out, cost, quality, and service are table stakes. And then, when we can find a supplier from GWBC or one of our other partner organizations, it helps us keep our commitments back to the business.
Right. And the impact you're making in the community and through this group, it's an amazing thing because, every small business that you help, it helps their family, their community. It really, it has a ripple effect.
It does. What we like to see is diversity companies partnering together to grow their capacity. We like to see the diversity companies also have diversity programs, and we also like to see the diversity companies also give back. So the money that we're able to spend with them only helps facilitate the things that I just mentioned.
So now what's a win for you out of GWBC Pop today?
Oh, they just got it, man. They just got an interview on Business Radio X.
Yes, everything else is downhill after that. The one thing that we would hope today is to find that new Weeby that we don't know. I would like also for them to connect with my partner, Steve, who runs that strategic sourcing organization. So if we could find a new Weeby that we could add to our supplier base, that would be success for us.
That's what you need more of?
Absolutely.
So you're always on the lookout for good suppliers.
Always on the lookout for good supplier, and if that supplier happens to be a diversity supplier, that's the icing on the cake. Right? Absolutely.
And then what is the type of supplier you need right now?
Yeah, supplier that solves our problem. So again, all of our buyers are consistently looking for ways to improve in the form of cost, quality, or service.
And not just necessarily responding to your problems, but anticipating some problems and maybe coming to you with some ideas, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But bringing the solution to the table. A lot of times we spend a lot of times educating new potential suppliers, new potential employees about what our problems are. But really these events are all about networking and finding the right supplier to connect with the right buyer, and then we'll have success.
And then when you meet them, then you invite them to the big event every year?
We invite them to the event. We talk to them about how to do business with Sunoco. So anytime something goes to market, we use an online tool to broadcast our event. So we tell them about that and how to get registered as a supplier for Sunoco potentially. And then the work is all on the Weeby to respond.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. If somebody wants to learn more about Sunoco, is there a website?
Yes, our website is www.sunoco, that's SONOCO.com/supplier diversity.
And then, so that's where they can go directly into the website and find the information they need to sign up or to learn more.
Yes, they can learn more about Sunoco as well as send an email, and that email will be forwarded directly to someone in our supply management organization.
Well, good stuff, Deborah and Steve. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
No,
Thanks
thank you for
having
having
us.
us.